Good morning, children. In the previous class we have seen about the manufacture of silk fabric, various places that we get silk from, and what are the different types of silk fabric, everything we have studied about. Now we are going to learn about the woolen fabric. Where do we get wool from? We get wool from the different animals like sheep, goat, llama, yak, alpaca. So these are the different animals in which we get wool from. Okay, the animals we get wool are found in the places of cold climate. So generally wool is being worn in winter season. Why is it so? Because wool is a poor conductor of heat. It does not allow the air from outside to enter in our body and the warm air that is present in our body to come outside. So it protects us from the extreme cold of outside getting into our body and make us warm. So generally we wear woolen clothes in winter season because of the cold climate outside. I think you have understood it. Okay children, now coming to the woolen fabric. So I told you that we get wool from these animals. From which part of these animals do we get the wool from? We get wool from the fleas of these animals. Fleas. What do you mean by fleas? Fleas means the hair of sheep or the animals that we take it is called the fleas. The hair of the animal is called as fleas. Okay children, it is the hair of the animal, especially the sheep here. Sheep or goat or camel. So I said about the animals from which we get wool from. Animals which give wool. What are they? Once you tell me, ma. I think, yes, sheep, goat, camel, yak, alpaca, lamb. Hope you might understood it. Next, we go to the different types of fleas. Types of fleas. Fleas are of mainly fine and coarse type. So, fleas we get in two types. Some fleas are very soft and some are coarse. Okay children? And the fleas that are very soft, especially of alpaca, that is the Angara goat, and of the merino sheep. Merino sheep, the fleas of the merino sheep is of highest quality wool that's produced in our country. And also the fleas of camel is coarse. Generally they are found in desert regions, isn't it? So they are the fleas soft or coarse. This soft wool is smooth and coarse wool is rough. Is it clear children? And if you see the differences between the fleas that is produced from the the Angara goat or the camel. Alpaca also, Angara, these are the types which have the fine wool. They produce the fine wool. And the camel or yak, they produce coarse wool. Okay children, here we can see that Angara goat is found in Jammu and Kashmir regions, very cold regions, whereas the camel is found in the desert, isn't it? So here it is found in cool climate, that is like Rajasthan, desert of Rajasthan, isn't it? Jammu and Kashmir, very cool place. Next, it's very soft, it's coarse, the fleas of this camel is coarse. The fleas of Angara goat is very smooth. It is the fleas of here also. The fleas of camel is rough. And the fleas of Angara goat is costly, we can say, because it's very smooth to touch. And here it is not so cost as other fleas. Is it clear? Next, The fleece of Angora goat is generally used to make the sweaters that we wear. And the fleece of the camel is used to make the stockings and mufflers. Mufflers and stockings. The socks that generally the women used to wear, they are stockings. Generally, there are other materials also that we produce through the wool, like monkey caps, mufflers, the things that we use for the upholstery, like for sofa set covers, or on the teepee you use the different decorative cloth materials for decorating the different household materials and all. Upholstery we say. And this is a wool, soft wool, the caps and the scarf that is being made of very soft wool. And the wool of the fleece that we get from the merino wool, sheep, sorry, it's a very finest quality wool that's been produced. Next, coming to the manufacture of the woolen fabric. In this, we find several steps. What are the several steps involved in manufacture of woolen fabric, or flowchart of woolen fabric we can say, in manufacture of woolen fabric. For this, there are several steps. The first step is shearing process. What is shearing process? Shearing is a process which involves the removal of hair or fleece from the body of sheep. Removal of hair. How the hair is being removed? Hair is removed with the razor, that is a fine razor, in spring season or summer season. The question arises, why is it so? The hair is removed only in the spring season. In spring season or the summer season, the climate is very hot and it can withstand the climate in the cold countries. So in the winter season, due to the extreme cold climate, it cannot withstand the cold climate in that region without the hair on its body. So normally the fleece is removed in that is summer season or the spring season, so that the sheep withstand the temperature at that time. Next, scoring process. Scoring is a process which involves the washing of the fleece, removed fleece, washing of the fleece with the help of chemical water. The water that is mixed with several chemicals, and the fleece that is obtained is washed in these chemicals, and we get the fleece in a perfect manner. Next step is sorting out of the sorting is the process done after scoring process, that is washing. Shearing, removal of hair, removal of fleece we can say. Fleece is the hair of the animal, sheep. Next, scoring is washing the fleece, washing the fleece. Sorting, classifying, making into groups. How their fleece is classified or made into groups or put sorts. They are sorted according to their size, shape, structure, and if it's long, soft, long, short, soft, rough. These are the different types of fleece that we get from the sheep. They are being sorted accordingly and made into different groups or piles. They are called as piles. So this is the process of classifying the wool or the fleece according to their long, short, soft, wool, soft, rough, coarse. In that manner, it is being classified. I think you have understood the first three steps. Shearing process, removal of the fleece. Scoring process, washing the fleece with the chemical water or the chemical solution. Sorting, classifying the obtained wool into different groups, making into consideration of long, short, soft, coarse, fine, smooth, and different types. We will classify them. Next, the fourth step I am going to tell now. The fourth step is bleaching, that is decolorizing, removal of color of the fleece. Generally the fleece of the wool of the sheep is being decolored for bleaching process, by doing the bleaching process to obtain the color we require. Is it clear? So this is the bleaching process done in the fourth step. Next, dyeing process is done to get the required color, that is coloring the fleas. Coloring the fleas, in which you have studied in the last year in the 6th class itself, in the fiber to fabric lesson itself. We have read about the dyeing process, in which the different fibers are being dipped into the coloring agents. So they are called as, it is called as dyeing process. After dyeing, the fleas gets so many knots in them. To remove it, we are using the carding machines, which the process is known as carding or combing process. It's also called as combing machine or carding machine. Through these machines, the knots are removed from the fleas. This process is done to remove the knots that form over the fleas. That one. Next, 7th step. Rolling or twisting. Rolling or twisting is a process done on rollers or twisters. So this is done with fibers of different fleas are twisted together to form over spools. This is done over the spools and spun for spinning process. Spinning is fibers that you get are spun into, fibers are made into yarn. By which process? Spinning process. Fibers are made into yarn by spinning process. The next step is weaving process. Weaving is done in power looms or hand looms. It's a process which involves warp threads and weft threads. Here in the weaving process, it involves 2 steps again. That is, either it is the fabric can be made by weaving process or knitting process. Weaving is done on hand looms or power looms. I'll show you in hand looms how it is done. So that is called as knitting process. Is it clear, children? So in weaving is also done on power looms. From this you get the woolen fabric at last. Woolen fabric. So I'll show you the knitting process, children. See here, knitting process involves 2 needles. It involves 2 needles. Okay, children? So with this is the wool. Okay, children? So I am using the needles. First, I'll put the knots over the single needle like this. Knots are being made over the needle like this. Okay, children? Later, the knots like this after being made, I am showing you how the knitting process is being done. After the knots being put over, the loops may be formed over the needle and inserting the other needle into the loop that is formed in previous needle and dragging it over this other needle. It can be extended. The threads can be extended over them, and this process continuously, this is called as the knitting process, children. You can see here, I think so. I'll show you the loop. So this is the loop, children, in which I am making a knot over it and removing the loop over to this, from this needle to this needle. See here. So in this manner, the loops are extended like this. So this is the process of knitting process, children. We do with the help of the wool that is we get after the spinning process. Is it clear, children? Over the spools. It's done by the knitting process. So this is the done through crochet. It can also be done through the knitting needles or the crochets also. Several items and objects are also made through this method 2. Okay children, now I'll revise the topic about the manufacture of the woolen fabric. Once again, I'll see the different steps. First is shearing process. Yes. Shearing process, removal of fleas, scoring process, it's the washing of the fleas, sorting process, washing of the fleas with the chemicals in scoring process, and sorting process is the classifying or the arranging of the wools into piles of different types. That is whether it is long, short, coarse, soft, etc. Next, coming to the bleaching process in which the wool or the fleece is decolorized, and then the dyeing process is done in which the fleece is colored. Next, this is first step, second, third, fourth and fifth. Coming to the sixth step, after dyeing process, rolling and twisting, carding and combing is done to remove the knots. Carding or combing. It's a process done by the carding machines to remove the knots. Then spinning is done to get the yarn from the fibers, that is fleece, that is fibers. Then after spinning, weaving process is, rolling and twisting is done on, before that rolling and twisting is done, later the spinning process is done. Rolling and twisting is done on spools. Fibers are with several fibers are twisted over the spools. Then spinning process is done to get the strong fibers. Next, weaving is done on power looms or hand looms, or knitting is also done. From this, finally, we get the woolen fabric, which is the 10th step at the last. I think you have you have understood the manufacture of the woolen fabric, children. In the next class, we'll take about the different types of places that we get from the woolen also we have covered, isn't it? So, okay, write down these questions. I'll tell you now. First, what are the animals from which we get wool? Second one, where do you get wool in our country? Hope I discussed or not. Once again, I want to tell you in our country about Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Jharkhand. So these are the places. Jammu and Kashmir, I told you. Jammu and Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Uttaranchal, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh. So these are the places where we get wool. I think I missed this, so I covered this now. Okay children, so along with this, you write the manufacture of the woolen fabric, steps involved, that is flowchart of woolen fabric. First you write the flowchart of woolen fabric, it's enough. Okay children, thank you very much. Hope you have understood this topic well. Thank you very much.